The first signs were subtle, almost imperceptible to those not looking closely. On July 16th, at precisely 3:47 Greenwich Mean Time, the global communication network experienced a microscopic hiccup. Most people missed it. A fraction of a second where satellite communications stuttered, where cell phone signals wavered, where the intricate web of human connectivity momentarily shimmered with an alien frequency. Jack Martinez caught it immediately. A former Special Forces operative turned underground resistance coordinator, Jack had spent the last decade of his life preparing for something most considered a conspiracy theory. While others laughed at his alien invasion preparedness seminars, he had been building a network, a silent, adaptive infrastructure that could respond to the unthinkable. In the subterranean command center beneath New York City's abandoned subway tunnels, Jack watched the data streams with predatory intensity. His team, a collection of hackers, ex-military personnel, quantum physicists, and technological mavericks, had developed an early warning system that made government intelligence agencies look like amateur radio enthusiasts. "They're cunning," he muttered, his weathered fingers dancing across holographic displays. The Zorn Collective's invasion wasn't just another military operation. It was a calculated harvest, a methodical process they had repeated across 17,429 documented planetary systems. Their technological superiority was so absolute that resistance wasn't just futile, it was mathematically improbable. Their massive harvester ships were living technologies, organic mechanical hybrids that could analyze and categorize entire planetary ecosystems in minutes. Biomass extraction, genetic sampling, resource harvesting, these were routine operations for a civilization that had mastered interstellar travel millennia before humans discovered electricity. What the Zorn didn't understand was the fundamental nature of human beings. We don't just survive. We evolve. We adapt. We dominate. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, monitoring the situation from a hidden research facility in the Andes Mountains, was already 3 steps ahead. Her quantum communication array, a device so advanced it made cutting-edge military technology look like children's toys, began collecting and analyzing the alien approach. "Jack," her voice crackled through an encrypted channel. "Their initial approach vector suggests a primary landing zone in the Pacific Rim. They're targeting major technological and population centers." Jack's lips curled into a predatory smile. "Let them come." The first harvester ships breached Earth's atmosphere with a silence that would have terrified any other species. Massive structures, each the size of several city blocks, descended with calculated precision. Their sensor arrays began mapping population densities, technological infrastructure, potential resistance points. What they didn't know was that humanity had been preparing, not out of paranoia, but out of a deep, instinctive understanding that we were never alone in the universe. In underground facilities, in hidden research labs, in converted military bunkers, humanity's true defense was already mobilizing. Every captured piece of alien technology would become a weapon. Every invasion protocol was about to be spectacularly turned on its head. The Zorn Collective had 17,429 successful planetary invasions in their historical records. Their sensors calculated a 99.8% probability of immediate human capitulation. They were about to become the 17,430th statistical anomaly. Jack Martinez watched the first ships descend with a smile that would have terrified the aliens if they understood human emotion. The invasion wasn't just beginning. The counterattack had already started. The underground research facility nestled deep within the Andes Mountains was not a place of conventional science. Here, Dr. Elena Rodriguez had assembled a team that defied every standard of technological research, military strategy, and human potential. Area Chen, a 26-year-old quantum computing prodigy, stood before a wall of holographic displays that pulsed with an almost living energy. Her fingers moved with a precision that made advanced computer interfaces look like children's toys. Behind her, A diverse team of hackers, physicists, former intelligence operatives, and technological mavens worked with a single unified purpose. First contact protocol is initiating, Area muttered, her voice calm despite the global crisis unfolding above them. The Zorn had made a critical mistake. They believed their technological superiority was absolute, that their communication networks were impenetrable. What they didn't understand was the fundamental nature of human innovation, our ability to turn limitations into weapons. Elena approached the central console, her eyes reflecting the cascading lines of code that were rapidly taking shape. This wasn't just a hack. It was a complete reimagining of cyber warfare. Target acquired, Area announced. The primary Zorn communication network, a sophisticated quantum entanglement system that had successfully coordinated invasions across thousands of planetary systems, began to warp. The virus they had developed was a work of pure genius. Part computer code, part adaptive artificial intelligence, part psychological warfare algorithm. It didn't just breach the Zorn systems. It played with them. At first, the changes were subtle. Navigation systems began routing Zorn ships in impossible geometric patterns. Weapon targeting computers suddenly developed what could only be described as a sense of humor, targeting their own vessels, creating communication loops that twisted standard protocols into knots of pure confusion. On the lead harvester ship, Commander Zrelnok watched in mounting horror as his carefully orchestrated invasion began to unravel. Messages between command ships became garbled. Strategic coordinates dissolved into nonsensical patterns. What should have been precise military communication devolved into a nightmarish symphony of technological chaos. "This is impossible," Zrelnok muttered, his multi-jointed appendages moving frantically across communication interfaces. A mid-level Zorn commander, unable to process the systematic breakdown of everything he understood about technological warfare, committed ritual suicide out of sheer psychological fracture. He would be the first, but certainly not the last. Back in the Andes facility, Area Chen allowed herself a rare smile. "We're just getting started." The hack was more than a technological attack. It was a statement, a declaration that humanity would not be a passive victim. Every line of code was a middle finger to the concept of inevitable defeat. Jack Martinez's voice crackled through the encrypted channel. "Status report. Their entire communication infrastructure is compromised," Elena responded. "We're not just disrupting their systems. We're rewriting the very concept of their technological supremacy." What the Zorn experienced wasn't a conventional cyber attack. It was psychological warfare that defied their understanding of technological combat. Their centralized hierarchical system of command and control was being systematically dismantled by a distributed network of human creativity. Area highlighted a particular section of the holographic display. "Watch this," she said, her fingers dancing across the interface. The Zorn's neural communication network, a sophisticated system of quantum-entangled telepathic channels, suddenly began broadcasting fragments of human cultural data. Classical music mixed with mathematical equations, abstract art intertwined with strategic algorithms. Fragments of human emotion and experience became a weapon more potent than any conventional technology. The Zorn were about to learn a brutal lesson. Humanity doesn't just fight. We transform conflict into an art form. "Invasion protocol," Elena said quietly, "has just been completely rewritten." Area looked up, a gleam of something between scientific excitement and pure, unbridled human defiance in her eyes. They have no idea what's coming. The invasion didn't unite humanity through peace. It united us through a collective, burning rage. In the favelas of Rio de Janeiro, Carlos Oliveira transformed his street gang into the most sophisticated urban guerrilla tech unit the world had ever seen. Where once they fought territorial battles, now they waged a war against an alien invasion. Their weapons were a mix of improvised technology, stolen alien hardware, and pure human desperation. "Every smartphone is a weapon," Carlos told his team, pointing to a modified communication array cobbled together from discarded electronics and captured alien tech. Every network is a battlefield. Thousands of miles away, in the remote mountains of rural China, retired engineer Zhang Wei had converted his family's barn into an electromagnetic pulse (EMP) manufacturing facility. What began as a retirement hobby became humanity's frontline defense. His daughters, all trained in advanced engineering, worked alongside him, turning agricultural equipment into sophisticated weapons of resistance. The traditional military structures had collapsed within hours of the initial invasion, but humanity's true strength emerged from its chaos. In a converted university research lab in Nairobi, Dr. Amina Okik and her team of young scientists were weaponizing experimental nanotechnology. Their research, previously considered too radical for mainstream funding, now became humanity's most promising defense mechanism. Microscopic machines that could infiltrate, analyze, and potentially destroy alien technology were being developed at an unprecedented pace. Satellite communications became a distributed warfare platform. Every connected device, from industrial control systems to personal smartphones, was now part of a global resistance network. The Zorn's centralized command structure was about to face its greatest challenge, a species that didn't fight with a single strategy, but with millions of simultaneous, unpredictable approaches. Jack Martinez's underground command center had become the nervous system of this global uprising. Using quantum encryption methods developed by Dr. Rodriguez's team, they created a communication network that was impossible for the Zorn to fully comprehend or intercept. "We're not just resisting," Jack explained to his international team of coordinators. "We're turning their invasion into our greatest opportunity." In the streets of Mumbai, a 19-year-old hacker named Raj discovered a way to weaponize the Zorn's own neural communication network. By introducing complex, almost artistic mathematical patterns into their telepathic frequencies, he could induce mass confusion and strategic disorientation among the alien forces. The uprising wasn't just military, it was total. Schools became research centers, hospitals transformed into technological workshops. Every human became a potential weapon, every mind a strategic asset. The Zorn had expected a hierarchical, predictable resistance. Instead, they faced a hydra of human innovation. Cut off one avenue of resistance, and 10 more would emerge. In the skies above major cities, commercial drones were quickly repurposed into surveillance and attack platforms. Agricultural machinery became improvised weapons. The global supply chain, once a marvel of just-in-time efficiency, now became a distributed manufacturing and resistance network. "They thought we were just another harvest," Carlos muttered, watching a swarm of modified delivery drones prepare for a coordinated strike. "They have no idea what's coming." Dr. Okik's nanotechnology team made a breakthrough that would change everything. They discovered a method to not just disrupt alien technology, but to fundamentally rewrite its basic operational parameters. What the Zorn considered an impenetrable defense could be turned into a vulnerability in moments. The global uprising was more than a resistance. It was a total reimagining of warfare, of technology, of human potential. Jack Martinez looked at the global communication map, a living, breathing representation of humanity's collective resistance. Millions of nodes, each representing a potential point of attack, of innovation, of pure human defiance. The Zorn Collective was about to learn a brutal lesson. Humanity doesn't just fight. We transform conflict into an art of survival. And we were just getting started. The aliens had expected to harvest human genetic material. Instead, they accelerated human technological development by centuries. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's research facility had become something between a mad scientist's laboratory and humanity's last hope. Captured alien devices covered entire walls. Each piece of technology a puzzle waiting to be not just understood, but utterly reimagined. "This isn't reverse engineering," Elena told her team, her fingers tracing the intricate quantum circuitry of the Zorn communication module. "This is total technological transformation." Aria Chen stood nearby, her mind already dissecting the alien technology at a quantum level. What the Zorn considered their most advanced systems were becoming raw material for human innovation. A neural communication interface that once controlled entire invasion fleets was now being repurposed into something the aliens could never have anticipated. In a converted automotive plant in Detroit, Marcus Williams, a former aerospace engineer turned resistance tech developer, was leading a team that was rewriting the fundamental principles of technological adaptation. They had discovered that the Zorn's adaptive technologies responded to specific quantum signatures. By introducing controlled chaos into these signatures, they could essentially hack alien technology at its most fundamental level. "We're not just copying their tech," Marcus explained to his team. "We're teaching it to be human." The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A 17-year-old high school student named Zora Rodriguez, Alina's niece, noticed a subtle pattern in the alien technology's response mechanisms. What looked like random fluctuations to the Zorn were actually complex communication protocols that could be manipulated. In the underground facilities beneath the Andes, entire teams worked around the clock. Quantum physicists worked alongside computer hackers. Linguists decoded alien communication patterns. Neuroscientists explored ways to interface human consciousness with captured alien technologies. A team in Tokyo developed a neural interface that could temporarily hijack Zorn combat drones. Another group in Sao Paulo created adaptive nanite swarms that could penetrate and reconfigure alien defensive systems. In Lagos, a group of biotechnologists discovered how to use the Zorn's genetic sampling technologies against them, creating adaptive camouflage that could fool even the most advanced alien sensors. The Zorn had made a critical mistake. They viewed technology as a static tool. Humans saw it as a living, breathing organism that could be constantly reimagined. Jack Martinez's communication network became the nervous system of this global technological revolution. Every captured alien device was immediately scanned, analyzed, and distributed to research teams around the world. What would have taken decades of traditional research was now happening in hours. "We're not just fighting," Jack told Elena during one of their encrypted communications. "We're evolving in real time." The most stunning development came from an unexpected collaboration. A team of artificial intelligence researchers in Mumbai, working with captured Zorn quantum processors, developed an AI system that could predict alien tactical movements with terrifying accuracy. It wasn't just an algorithm. It was a living strategy engine that learned and adapted faster than any biological intelligence could comprehend. Area Chen's breakthrough with quantum entanglement communication systems turned the Zorn's most secure networks into open books. What they considered unbreakable encryption became a playground for human innovation. They thought their technology was advanced, Area muttered, watching lines of code dance across her holographic displays. They have no idea what advanced really means. In the skies above major cities, modified alien craft began to appear, no longer recognizable as the original harvester ships. They were now hybrid technologies that combined alien engineering with pure human creativity. Weapons systems that could change configuration mid-battle. Defensive technologies that learned and adapted in milliseconds. The 19-year-old hacker from Mumbai, who had initially discovered how to weaponize the Zorn's neural communication network, was now leading a team that was essentially rewriting the fundamental laws of technological interaction. The Zorn had come to harvest. Instead, they had unleashed humanity's true potential. And we were just getting started. Humanity's most devastating weapon wasn't technological. It was our capacity for absolute, glorious unpredictability. The underground performance art resistance cell, led by Maya Senegal, was not a military unit. They were artists, philosophers, musicians, and cultural hackers who understood something profound. Warfare is as much about breaking minds as it is about breaking bodies. Their headquarters was a converted theater in the heart of New Orleans, a space that defied every conventional understanding of military strategy. Holographic interfaces mixed with abstract art installations. Communication boards were covered in mathematical equations, musical notations, and fragments of cultural memories. "We're not just fighting," Maya explained to her team. "We're dismantling their entire conceptual framework of reality." Their first major breakthrough came from an unexpected fusion of neuroscience, performance art, and pure human chaos. By analyzing captured Zorn communication intercepts, they discovered something remarkable. The alien species had a fundamentally linear way of processing information. Their entire technological and social structure was built on predictable patterns, hierarchical thinking, and rigid strategic protocols. Humans, by contrast, were beautifully, gloriously chaotic. The team began developing transmission protocols that were part mathematical equation, part abstract art, part psychological trigger. These weren't just messages. They were conceptual weapons designed to induce maximum cognitive dissonance. Dr. Raphael Chen, a neuroscientist who had been working with the team, had discovered something extraordinary about the Zorn's neural communication network. Their telepathic systems, so advanced they made human communication look primitive, had a critical vulnerability. They couldn't process truly nonlinear thought patterns. Imagine sending a transmission that is simultaneously a complex mathematical proof, a piece of avant-garde music, and an emotional narrative, Raphael explained. To us, it might seem like nonsense. To them, it's a psychological neutron bomb. In the first large-scale test, they broadcast a transmission that defied every known principle of communication. Mathematical equations morphed into musical compositions. Historical narratives dissolved into abstract visual patterns. Fragments of human emotional experiences were coded into quantum frequency patterns. The result was immediate and devastating. Entire Zorn command ships went dark. Communication networks collapsed. Their neural interfaces, designed to process information with machine-like precision, simply broke. A mid-level Zorn commander reported experiencing what could only be described as a total psychological breakdown. The transmission had introduced concepts so fundamentally alien to their way of thinking that their entire cognitive framework began to disintegrate. Jack Martinez watched the initial reports with a mixture of scientific fascination and pure human satisfaction. "They thought they understood complexity," he muttered. "We're about to show them what complexity really means." The resistance cell wasn't just a group of artists and scientists. They were architects of cognitive warfare, designing weapons that attacked the very foundations of alien perception. Maya's team began developing more sophisticated transmission protocols. They incorporated elements of human creativity that defied logical categorization, improvised jazz mixed with quantum algorithms, abstract paintings encoded with strategic information, musical compositions that were also complex mathematical proofs. The Zorn had navigated thousands of planetary invasions. They had encountered countless species, but they had never encountered anything like humans. "We're not just fighting," Maya told her team, watching the cascading effects of their latest transmission. "We're teaching them the true meaning of creativity." In orbit above Earth, Zorn command ships began to experience systemic failures. Their communication networks, once a marvel of quantum entanglement and precise information transfer, now resembled something between a fever dream and a conceptual art installation. Humanity wasn't just resisting. We were redefining the very concept of warfare. And we were just getting started. The decisive battle wasn't just a military engagement. It was a total demonstration of human potential. Off the coast of Hawaii, a fleet unlike any in human history assembled. Converted container ships, modified deep-sea research vessels, and experimental maritime platforms formed a technological mosaic that would have been impossible to imagine just weeks before the invasion. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiance, a research vessel that had been transformed into a mobile command center. Her team represented the absolute pinnacle of human potential. Quantum physicists working alongside naval strategists, AI specialists collaborating with marine engineers, and former special forces operators providing tactical insights. "This isn't just a battle," Elena told her team. "This is a statement. The Zorn had chosen the Pacific Rim as their primary invasion corridor for a reason. The region's technological infrastructure, dense population centers, and strategic maritime routes made it an ideal landing zone. What they didn't understand was that they had chosen the one place on Earth most prepared for technological warfare. Jack Martinez's global resistance network had been preparing for this moment. Every captured piece of alien technology, every breakthrough in quantum computing, every experimental weapons system was about to be put to the ultimate test. Marcus Williams from Detroit had developed the cornerstone of their strategy: adaptive drone swarms that could reconfigure themselves mid-battle. These weren't just machines. They were living, thinking networks that could analyze and respond to alien tactics faster than any centralized command could process. The first wave of Zorn harvester ships descended with their typical calculated precision. Massive organic mechanical structures that had dominated thousands of planetary invasions began their standard extraction protocols. They were about to meet humanity's true nature. Area Chen's quantum disruption systems came online first. Developed in the hidden laboratories of the Ends, these weren't conventional weapons. They were fundamental reality hackers, devices that could manipulate the quantum signatures of alien technology at its most basic level. The ocean itself became a battlefield of human innovation. Weaponized drones constructed from repurposed deep-sea mining equipment emerged from hidden maritime launch points. Particle accelerator-generated quantum disruption pulses created interference patterns that the Zorn had no way to predict or counter. Adaptive nanoswarms developed by Dr. O'Keefe's team in Nairobi began infiltrating the massive harvester ships, turning their own defensive systems into points of vulnerability. Maya Senegal's psychological warfare team contributed a final devastating element. Transmission arrays began broadcasting complex cognitive disruption signals, part mathematical proof, part abstract art, part pure human emotion. The Zorn's neural communication networks began to fracture under the assault of pure, unfiltered human creativity. They thought they understood warfare, Jack muttered, watching the real-time tactical displays. We're about to teach them what true adaptation means. The battle wasn't just about destruction. It was about demonstrating humanity's fundamental nature, our ability to turn any situation into an opportunity for growth, for innovation, for absolute triumph. Zorn harvester ships began to fall, not through conventional weaponry, but through a complete dismantling of their technological and psychological frameworks. Entire command structures collapsed as human creativity overwhelmed their rigid, predictable systems. Elena Rodriguez watched the tactical display with a mix of scientific fascination and pure, unbridled human satisfaction. We weren't just fighting an invasion. We were redefining the very concept of potential. And we were just getting started. Humanity's response to the invasion was more than a military campaign. It was a total transformation of our species' potential. In the weeks following the Pacific Rim showdown, every human institution underwent a radical metamorphosis. Schools became research centers. Hospitals transformed into technological workshops. Entire industries were repurposed into a global resistance infrastructure that defied every conventional understanding of warfare. Dr. Elena Rodriguez convened a global strategy conference that was anything but traditional. Participants included quantum physicists, street hackers, retired military strategists, performance artists, and teenage technological prodigies. The United Earth Defense Council was less a military command structure and more a living, breathing organism of human potential. We're not just fighting, Elena told the assembled group. We're evolving. The psychological impact of human resistance had begun to fracture the Zorn collective in ways no one could have predicted. Their hierarchical, stratified society had no framework for understanding a species that could turn every limitation into a strength. Jack Martinez's global communication network had become something far beyond a resistance infrastructure. It was a distributed intelligence system that processed information in ways the Zorn could never comprehend. Every captured piece of alien technology became a node of collective learning. Every failed attack became a new opportunity for innovation. In the mountains of Tibet, a group of Buddhist monks collaborated with quantum computing experts to develop meditation-inspired algorithmic warfare techniques. Their breakthrough involved creating computational systems that could process information with a fluidity that mimicked human consciousness. Unpredictable, adaptive, almost alive. Maya Senegal's psychological warfare team continued to develop transmission protocols that were equal parts art, mathematics, and pure human emotion. They discovered that the Zorn's neural communication networks had a critical vulnerability. They couldn't process true creativity. Imagination is our ultimate weapon, Maya explained to her team. We're not just fighting. We're reimagining the very concept of conflict. The global resistance had developed technologies that would have seemed like pure science fiction weeks earlier. Adaptive nanoswarms that could reconfigure themselves mid-mission. Quantum communication systems that could transmit information faster than light. Artificial intelligence platforms that learned and evolved in real time. Area Chen's quantum computing breakthroughs had transformed entire fields of technological understanding. What the Zorn considered their most advanced systems were now being used as raw material for human innovation. Their invasion had inadvertently accelerated human technological development by centuries. In orbit above Earth, Zorn command ships began to experience systemic failures that defied their understanding. Communication networks collapsed. Defensive systems turned against themselves. Their entire invasion infrastructure began to disintegrate under the assault of human creativity. The resistance was no longer just about survival. It was about demonstrating the fundamental nature of human potential. They came to harvest, Jack Martinez said, watching the global tactical displays, but they woke something they didn't understand. Schools were teaching courses on alien technology adaptation. Children were developing technologies that made current military systems look obsolete. The entire planet had become a single, unified research and development platform. The Zorn Collective was about to learn a brutal lesson about the species they had underestimated. Humanity doesn't just fight. We transform. We evolve. And we were just getting started. The last Zorn ship retreated not with a dramatic explosion, but with a whimper of total technological and psychological defeat. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of the Global Command Center, watching the final remnants of the alien fleet disappear from Earth's orbital systems. Around her, the team that had been humanity's last hope now represented something far more significant: the architects of our species' greatest transformation. We didn't just survive, Elena said quietly to Jack Martinez, who stood beside her. We became something entirely new. The technological leaps made during the invasion had catapulted human civilization centuries ahead of any projected development trajectory. Technologies that would have taken generations to develop were now operational within weeks. Quantum communication systems that could transmit information faster than light. Adaptive nanotechnologies that could reshape matter at the molecular level. Artificial intelligence platforms that learned and evolved with a complexity that blurred the lines between machine and consciousness. Area Chen's quantum computing breakthroughs had rewritten the fundamental understanding of computational potential. The adaptive technologies developed to counter the Zorn invasion were now being applied to solve challenges that had seemed insurmountable just months ago. Climate change, energy production, medical research. Jack Martinez looked out over the Global Command Center, a facility that was now more than a military installation. It was a living, breathing representation of human potential. Teams from every continent worked in seamless collaboration, their diversity becoming their greatest strength. They came to harvest, Jack said, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Instead, they gave us the greatest gift possible, a chance to truly understand our potential. The psychological warfare techniques developed by Maya Senegal's team had become a new field of study. Universities were now offering courses in creative resistance, in adaptive thinking, in the art of transforming limitations into strengths. What had begun as a survival strategy had become a fundamental approach to human problem-solving. In orbit, the remnants of captured Zorn technology were being systematically studied, adapted, and integrated into human technological infrastructure. Every alien system became a learning opportunity, every captured device a window into new possibilities. The global resistance network that had been humanity's nervous system during the invasion now transformed into a collaborative planetary intelligence network. Researchers in Tokyo worked seamlessly with engineers in Lagos, with quantum physicists in Sao Paulo, with AI developers in Mumbai. Dr. Raphael Chen, who had been crucial in understanding the Zorn's neural communication systems, was now leading a team developing communication technologies that could potentially connect human consciousness in ways previously unimaginable. "We're not just recovering," Raphael explained to a global audience. "We're ascending." The invasion had done what decades of global cooperation could not. It had truly united humanity. National boundaries had become meaningless. The concept of separate countries dissolved in the face of our collective potential. Elena Rodriguez understood the true victory was not in defeating the Zorn. It was in what humanity had become in the process. A species that could turn an extinction-level threat into a moment of unprecedented growth. A civilization that could look at the vast, unknown universe and see not a threat, but an opportunity. As the last traces of the Zorn fleet disappeared from Earth's sensors, humanity looked outward, not with fear, but with an unquenchable sense of possibility. We didn't just survive the alien invasion. We dominated it. And we were just getting started. Epilogue note ***. In the galactic archives of peaceful civilizations, Earth would be marked with a new classification. Approach with extreme caution. Species in continuous, unpredictable evolution.